Jake Retzlaff, we talked a little bit about video game rankings and stuff. I saw Jake Retzlaff is per the new video game, which comes out in 8 days, thank the Lord. As a top 20 quarterback right now. I probably would have put him in that category or
19.
close to it. But a top 20 quarterback is a free agent right now, and football starts in less than a month for everyone in America, minus, I guess, whoever plays the Monday night game. So they play on September 1st. But for BYU and 134 other schools, or 133 other schools, save the two on Labor Day night, football starts next month, and he doesn't have a home. Let's talk first about how this impacts BYU, obviously, and then what the heck happens with Retzlaff going forward. Cole, you want to start us off here?
Yeah, so for BYU fans who apparently cannot wait to crap on every single one of my takes recently, I'll just give you a little bit more fire. I didn't think you were going to be that great this year anyways. I thought 8-4, I thought 7-5 was more so your ceiling. I have a lot of questions for your team, especially after losing multiple players in the portal and multiple players to the draft. But I thought Jake Retzlaff was the right answer at quarterback. I love the way that he played down the stretch. He was a perfect game manager. He fit what Kalani's Sitake wanted. I still think the defense is going to be solid. But my question now turns to is where do you go for the quarterback position? In the Big 12, a year where it truly feels like every single season is determined by one or two breakout teams, and then the usual team that last year kind of hit their stride at the right time. They're the ones that are pulling away as the favorites in the conference. When I look at the Big 12 this year, BYU was a top 4 team for me potentially because of what I saw in Jake Retzlaff, because of the veteranship at quarterback, the continuity in the offensive personnel, his relationship with Chase Roberts on the outside. That was something that you could hold your hat on and say, when we're in these close call games, having a veteran quarterback may be the difference of us taking a win and a loss. You don't have that guy anymore. And honestly, when you look at the roster right now, who is that guy that's going to come on in and be an upgrade over what you have with Jake Retzlaff? Really, at this point, you're kind of starting fresh, and you're starting fresh with less than a month of action. It's very similar to how I feel about Tennessee going into the season. I think Tennessee may end up over-exceeding expectations in the public eye, but let's also call a spade a spade. Losing a Nico Iamaleava, who had gone through all of spring practice, who had been throughout all of the offseason workouts, and had an offense that was predicated to his strengths and his weaknesses, now having to change it up into what Joey Aguilar does best, that may cost you a game that eventually keeps you out of the conversation for the college football playoff. And in the case for BYU, keeps you out of the conversation for going to Arlington. I don't know what you're going to get in the 3 guys that you currently have. You had one dude last year that threw 4 interceptions. You bring in the Bachmeier kid from Stanford. That may end up being the best option for you. And I get it. You have Ryder Lyons coming on in who, by the way, let me just make this abundantly clear. If you watch the video, remember I said at the very end that I believe Ryder Lyons is going to stay committed to you, even though money's going to be thrown out like crazy. Because money's thrown out like crazy. It's the new world of college football. This is one of those years where it feels iridescently similar to Tennessee out in the SEC. If you end up doing really well, we're going to be somewhat surprised, and it shows what type of coaching staff you have, what type of player mentality you have, what type of direction the program is going in. But for some people, you're okay with saying we're going to hit the reset button this year and reevaluate in 2026 when we get our guy in the building, not just some run-of-the-mill quarterback that we had to throw out there because of things decided to go ahead and hit the fan at the wrong time.
Where does Retzlaff end? Or land?
He's not playing this year. I don't see a scenario where he's going to be playing this year at all. I think that, again, he'll get something from the NCAA that will be a waiver of eligibility that will grant him one more year, and then we're going to have the conversation on where he goes in the offseason. For him to come on in, remember, if he would have stayed on campus because if he broke the honor code, he was going to miss 7 games. Well, regardless, it's still going to take him 7 games to get acclimated to a brand new system, wherever that may be. And so I think that this is one of those years where he will go to the NCAA, ask for that eligibility waiver, so that way he gets an entire spring to learn the ins and outs of the offense, to feel very comfortable with those wide receivers. The team I would love to see him with, and it's a bold out of left field take, but I love Rob Edsall out Wake Forest and his offense. I think that him being out with the Demon Deacons would be a really intriguing fit to be that game manager, the up-tempo passing attack. I think he's going to go to a Power 4 school. I think the ACC is probably where you're looking at this point, but it does feel like I'm turning more so to 2026 than 2025.
I would not be a huge fan if he landed at Wake this year anyway. Like that's one of the games I feel more comfortable about.
Yeah.
Let's not bring him into Doak Campbell Stadium. Their schedule, go back to BYU for just a minute. Their schedule somewhat sets up okay for a new guy to step in. Portland State first, Stanford at home next, which they're a mess as well. You get a bye week before going to East Carolina, and then you have to go to Colorado, which again, complete toss up of who knows what the heck they're going to be. And after that, you get West Virginia at home. And again, new coach, new system, new old coach, I guess, but a new coach to these players. I still think they could, if they can navigate their way through the first month, right? So all those games are in August and September. If they can get to October, 4-1? I think you set yourself up to at least have a chance to be relevant when you get into the meat of Big 12 play, right? So obviously at that point you got to go to Arizona, you play the Holy War at home, which certainly helps. You got to go to Iowa State. I mean, you get into some real meat of competition in the Big 12, which we've talked about is wide open. But if you can just start okay, which I think their schedule sets up well enough for them to do that, I think it maybe gives you some hope. Maybe that ends up being false hope if the Big 12 runs through them without having a quarterback. They won a lot of games on defense and playing really well on that side of the ball last year, even when Retzlaff was in and they played a bad Utah. Like they were winning games 18-14 and 21-13 and things like that. So if their team around them can kind of hold up, obviously a lot of guys in the NFL, like you mentioned, if the team around them can hold up, I think they can at least be relevant when Big 12 play starts.
When it starts, yes. What I will say is look at the quarterback position. I want you to go through that stretch from October 11th all the way down until November 22nd. Arizona, I would take Noah Fafita tomorrow at BYU over anyone on the roster. Utah, I would take Devin Dampier over anyone on the roster at BYU. Rocco Becht, you give him Chase Roberts, I think that he has another sensational season. You give Baron Morton to BYU. Again, they're probably one of the favorites. And then Josh Hoover, I think, is one of the most slept-on quarterbacks in the country right now after having nearly 4,000 passing yards a season ago. So if it comes down to quarterback play, yeah, your defense is going to bail you out of trouble, but this feels like situational 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers where, hey, defense is going to have to win every single game because our offense is ranking 32nd, and in this case, 95th, 97th, 91st in passing, third down completion attempts, conversion rates, deep ball accuracy, explosive plays. That's where I have my issue, is that quarterback play was so essential. Retzlaff gives you a shot just simply based off the veteranship.
It's a really unique situation. Obviously, the legal element, of trying to not look at that. And obviously you hope the best for all the parties involved on understanding it was a rape case and then it's dismissed. So it's complicated and difficult for everybody on all sides. So I want to show respect to that in the first place. I do hope for the player, if he is cleared of everything and is able to get past this and he is found completely innocent of any wrongdoing, that sort of thing, that yes, that he does have a chance to pursue more time in college football, because I think he needs it. If he were not to do what Cole said of, hey, applying for an extra year of eligibility because he is a graduate student, he has one more year of eligibility, he would then have to transfer to a team that doesn't even feel good about their starting quarterback and be like, hey, we need a reputable backup that we can maybe inject middle of the season and give Retzlaff time to get himself organized. But even then, you really hurt your ability to get ready for the NFL draft, all that sort of stuff, because he was supposed to, BYU was supposed to be back, I think, by July 7th in terms of camp. So this whole thing's messy. I hope the best for everybody involved, but I really do hope that at least if the player is able to clear all of the legal elements and he is found completely clear of these things, that he does get an extra year of eligibility, because this would be a near impossible ask for any team, or not a good idea for any team, to just be like, hey, we should go grab this guy and make him our starting quarterback on July 2nd. That's a lot.
If he did get that extra year of eligibility, Cole, as someone, intimately familiar with this, Florida State is going to go to the portal again next year for a quarterback. Can he run Gus Malzahn's
every year? Yeah.
Can he run Malzahn's offense? Does he run well? I think he's smart enough as a runner. He's obviously not as athletic as Castellanos is. But
I'd rather Tommy C for that offense fits a lot better than Jake Retzlaff.
I was going to say Jake Retzlaff tore up the Big 12 last year much more than Thomas Castellanos cut up the ACC last year. So let's acknowledge that.
Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, if you're telling me based off of just offensive personnel, I'd much rather Tommy C running the show for Gus Malzahn than Retzlaff. But That doesn't mean I think Tommy C is a better quarterback. Like that's what it comes down to. There's going to be an oriented offense. I think it's going to predicate to him. Like I could see a world where Vanderbilt just goes and brings him on in. Hey, we're going to get just these extra eligibility waiver quarterbacks every single offseason. They'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
2 quarterbacks. Give me 2.
Yeah, who cares? Hey, you know what? We'll just keep demanding until they're 28 years old to play football. It's like what we saw a few years ago with Cam Rising. He was just the poster boy for what was us now running to the podium and get those extra years of eligibility. He's going to get an opportunity elsewhere. And like, I'm not going to bring up the things that go into this because of, again, it's BYU. They have their rules and their regulations and their stipulations about when it comes to breaking the honor code. It just, the way that this case has gone has been extremely messy, and it does feel like it was more so a shot at Jake Retzlaff because of how in the preliminary days afterwards, the case has been dropped. He has now left school. They're basically starting fresh. There's a lot of souring that goes around this. And from Tom's standpoint and from just the standpoint of it needs to be more so you were innocent until proven guilty. In this case, it was you were guilty until proven innocent. You were only proven innocent when you were willing to leave Provo, Utah. I hope that from the standpoint of schools looking at this case, they do a full-on investigation and realize that if Jake Retzlaff is guilty, then by all means, he should never be playing football again. But if he is innocent, the reason why he is not at BYU is not just because of a case. It's because of he had to report something that most 21-year-olds don't want to report to begin with because it's their private lives. And he broke an honor code system, and they cared about the honor code system as much as they cared about the actual case. That is very souring to me in a lot of different ways because of you are kind of throwing your quarterback out there and saying, well, you did this, so automatically, even if you were innocent, the fact that you admitted to it, you're suspended 7 games. It's something that is just not going to sit well with me, and I hope for Jake Retzlaff he lands elsewhere if he's proven innocent in all charges.
I agree. Bring him to Tallahassee is all I got to say.